Studio Pupco Studios in Oklahoma City. You're watching the Press Row. I'm Jenni Carlson. He's Barry Trammell. Press Row is brought to you by Cox High-Speed Internet. Today we're playing 5 and 5, Barry. 5 topics in 5 minutes, a minute per topic. Let's get going. First of all, Big 12 realignment. Is staying the best move for OU and OSU?
Well, I think it's the best move if they get the concessions from Texas. I mean, if Texas shapes up, quits showing high school, planning to show high school content on the Longhorn Network, shares a little bit of the wealth, I think it's a good move.
Now, wait a minute. Texas is going to shape up? That's what we're going to pin all this on? How in the heck is that going to happen?
Well, I mean, Texas, just because they're arrogant doesn't mean they're stupid. They don't have any place else to go. If they want to take that Longhorn Network, they need to be in the Big 12. They need to cooperate a little bit with the little guys.
Well, and I think it's going to be really telling, this board of directors meeting that is going to be held Thursday afternoon. Are some reforms going to be made? I think that could really give us an idea of whether this conference is stable. It might be right back where we are again in another year if they don't make some changes.
I think it's Groundhog Day 3. If they don't make some changes, I think you're right. I think this conference is vulnerable. I think OU is going to be looking, OSU is going to be looking, Missouri can't. Anybody that's got an option is going to be looking. So they need to stop the looking. They need to stop the wandering eyes.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the best move for OU and OSU, but at this point, I don't know that they have a better
Time's
option. Time is up. Point number 2 today. If the Big 12 expands, who is the best to bring in?
I think number 1 on my list is TCU. Great geographic fit, nice replacement for A&M. Not as big a fan base as the Aggies, but frankly, about as good a football team. The only question is, can TCU sustain it over the course of 10, 15, 20 years? But remember, folks, they're the reigning Rose Bowl champ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good team, no doubt about it. And TCU obviously getting ready to head east, go to the Big East. But will they do that now that the Big East is in a little bit of turmoil? I think it's worth asking TCU. I'm skeptical that they'll say yes, but it would be a good replacement in the state of Texas. And I think it would be somewhat of that splash that the Big 12 needs, somebody that really feels solid. But it's hard to replace A&M with a program that's just come on here recently.
No, I agree it's not a perfect replacement. I do think TCU would crawl on their knees to the Big 12 office to accept. They're in a crumbling conference. And after TCU, I think you got 2 options. Go west with Air Force and Brigham Young. If you don't like Air Force, you could go all the way to Boise. Or go east with West Virginia and Louisville. I don't advocate mixing those up. You don't want to stretch the conference from Appalachia to the Rocky Mountains.
Time's up. Number 3, Dan Beebe, Big 12 Commissioner. Chief villain or fall guy?
He's the fall guy. Dan Beebe's not the problem, for crying out loud. I mean, OU wants his head, just sort of symbolism. Dan Beebe pushed for the same things OU is pushing for now, which is revenue sharing. Dan Beebe's not the problem. Nebraska's problem with Texas is not Dan Beebe related. That was just a symptom of the problem.
Well, but let's say that he may not be the problem, but he's a problem. I don't think there's any way around that. I mean, when you talk about the problems that have befallen the Big 12, clearly there's a lack of leadership at the top. Not having somebody that's able to get these schools in a room, Barry, and talk this out. You got to have somebody that's able to build that consensus and bring people together.
This league, going back to the Big 8 days, has never wanted that. This is a league that always has a weak commissioner model. Go back to Carl James. Go back to even Chuck Ninus in the 70s in the Big 8. Certainly Kevin Weiberg, smarter than the average bear. He invented the Big 10 network, wanted to do it in the Big 12. Big 12 said no. The commissioners they've had is not the problem. The commissioner model is the problem.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they need to change the model. Everything else is changing. Number 4, there's a football game in College Station on Saturday. Is anybody paying attention to this?
No, everybody's just focused on where everybody's going to play in the future. It's silly. I mean, this is a huge game. First top 10 matchup in Kyle Field in 36 years. Oklahoma State A&M, just the 9th top 10 matchup in OSU history. And all we can talk about is where they're going to play in the future.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This is a huge game. Everybody knows Oklahoma State's got this really, really tough road schedule in the Big 12, and it all starts this Saturday in College Station. I think this is going to be an amazing game. And, I think it could hold up as maybe one of the best games in the entire Big 12 season, and it's the opener for these 2 teams. So I think this is an awesome, awesome game.
Just the other day, it looked like a Pac-16 SEC showdown. Instead, we're back to the, just a Big 12 semifinal, if you will. So, yeah, it should be a great game. Let's quit talking about realignment. Let's focus on Brandon Weeden, and Justin Blackman, Jeff Fuller, and Ryan Tannehill.
Hey, I'm looking forward to this wide receiver matchup. You got Fuller on one side, Blackman on the other. I think these 2 guys are going to have a heck of a show. All right. right, last 5 and 5. OU Missouri. Any letdown for the Sooners after that epic game in Tallahassee?
I don't really believe that there has to be letdowns, but sometimes there are, and this is the perfect place for one. Great matchup in Tallahassee, played great, won a big game. Now you come back home to a game you should win. Could be a letdown.
Yeah, I think there could be a little bit of a letdown, but I tell you what makes me think it's not going to happen is that loss at Missouri a year ago. If the Sooners would have gone to Columbia and just rolled over them, then I'd be worried about letdown. I don't think they're thinking beyond this game. I think they're really focused on the Tigers.
The one thing the Sooners have going for them, when they play a rum-dum at Owen Field, sometimes they mess around. Utah State, UAB, whoever. When they play a pretty good team, they generally kill them. So Missouri's a pretty good team. Watch out, Tigers. You might be in trouble.
Yeah, I think this is a game where Oklahoma just continues to assert itself. You know, maybe in other years there would have been a problem, but I think this team is really focused. I think after last week, they just keep rolling. I think if they lost a year ago, you might be worried. I don't think they're worried. I'm not worried about them. I don't think there's any letdown. That's it for 5 and 5, and that's it for the Press Row. Thanks for joining us. Press Row is brought to you by Cox High-Speed Internet.